Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. We continue to see bulls aggressively buy dips, keeping their control in the short term. Are we going to grind up to all-time highs from here, slow and steady, or will we see weekly consolidation? Some lead altcoin bulls like ADA stealing the show, but there are some names that have tightening BTC pairings that we need to be watching for potential laggard action. Let's check out the charts. So starting off with Bitcoin, we had another weekend with some aggressive dip buying. On the hourly time frame, we dropped down close to oversold, and again, the strongest names are seeing their oversold conditions front run. And that's just everybody looking at the same RSI levels, but rushing forward to cut the line and buying a little bit in advance. So altcoins hit hourly oversold, many of them did during this drop over the weekend, but Bitcoin did not. So what we're looking at right now, and shout out to Jim G, TheChartGuys member, he's pointing out this megaphone on the hourly time frame, so worth keeping an eye on this. Right now, it's a weak bounce attempt, and if we drop down another leg down, we'll be watching this downtrending support line. The 4-hour is still an uptrend at this point, and the bulls right now are battling to try and hold 4-hour EMA 12. We cleared $50,000 psychological resistance, and from here, where are our next resistance levels? I'm looking at 50.7 and then 51.6 as the next two levels. It's a 12-hour bull flag that confirmed, not a ton of follow through. There's an uptrending resistance line that we could keep an eye on. The one that I've been drawing would not be touched at this point, still a little bit higher than the current prices. So it's a scenario where the bull breaks haven't been getting a ton of follow through. You know, we had this high at 48.1, and I guess that last break we did make it all the way up to 49.8. But the most recent break, it's only a new higher high by $700. So the bulls aren't seeing a ton of forceful follow through, but again, any dip is being bought. So what I'm looking for a notable momentum shift would be an hourly oversold bounce resulting in a lower high and lower low. Because again, what has been keeping the bulls really strong is that the hourly oversold bounces see some significant follow through. We're also watching the altcoin space continue to have a few coins run at a time, stealing the spotlight and rotating those profits around. So we know that remains healthy. And the dominance chart, we can continue to watch. And I'll show you an example of how I used the ETH BTC chart to develop a little bit of a short-term lean in the cryptocurrency space as a whole. So we know the dominance chart on Bitcoin has been trading sideways, and it is its least volatile that it's been, aside from this period right here. And when this period of tightening dominance broke, that happened July 25th. So looking back at the price action, back on July 25th, we had a big time move up. So I'm anticipating that the dominance chart tightening up is telling us, hey, volatility is incoming in the cryptocurrency space. If it breaks bear, I anticipate a bullish move in the cryptocurrency space as a result. If it breaks bull, I anticipate a bearish move in the cryptocurrency space because again, in that scenario, in my opinion, it would be Bitcoin dropping and the altcoins dropping faster. So at this point, I'm viewing this as a low, high of the bounce, double bottom, lower high, and here we are heading down towards support. We can trade within this range for another few days. The tighter we get, the more significant the reaction when the break takes place, in my opinion. And you can look at the weekly chart for Bitcoin and say, well, we're so extended, what, are we going to get another big time leg up? And it's possible, but probability-wise, I would be keeping an eye out for the potential that weekly consolidation shapes up if the dominance chart can break bull. But that means the bears have a lot of proving to do. And again, the bears have not been able to prove it at this point. So Ethereum, we have a bull break of a daily higher low being set and a higher high. Again, not a ton of follow through, just 1% at this point. Bulls definitely want more follow through than that. We're looking at 3,500 psychological, really 34, and then 3,500 psychological. And the last thing the bulls want to see here is a loss of the 4-hour uptrend after breaking that resistance. Because again, bulls are struggling at this zone. And you can just see not a ton of follow through. We broke resistance by $8, and now we've broken resistance by $37, but still in a 4-hour uptrend. So the clue that I looked for over the weekend is I was highlighting this 1 hour falling wedge, and I love falling wedges on BTC pairings. And we're going to look at more of them, but this is one of them. I was watching this falling wedge, and we were right down at support, and that was when the weakness was taking place, where Bitcoin got close to hourly oversold, and we saw Ethereum get hourly oversold. So with Ethereum hourly oversold, and the dominance chart, or I should say the ETH BTC chart weak, but right at a downtrending support line, two things can happen. We can flush through, and this can be a falling wedge that breaks bearish. This is a bullish pattern. Or the falling wedge breaks bull. So let's just assume that the falling wedge is going to break bull, which it did, but we didn't know that at that point in time. If the falling wedge breaks bull, there are two ways that that can happen. Bitcoin going up and Ethereum going up faster, or Bitcoin dropping and Ethereum dropping slower. If Ethereum has been weaker than Bitcoin for days, if Bitcoin's going to drop, I'm anticipating Ethereum's going to drop faster. There's already bearish momentum. The wind is already blowing in that direction based on this downtrending chart. So I anticipate then, okay, well, if this is a falling wedge and it's going to break bull, the most likely way that it happens is the cryptocurrency space staying strong and Ethereum just catching up a little bit to the upside towards Bitcoin. And so that's what's happened now. We're looking for a weekly higher low on this ETH BTC chart, and we're watching a back test of EMA support. Bulls have a lot of proving to do, but the daily bounce is underway. And so with this daily bounce, Ethereum has gained against Bitcoin over the last 24 hours or so. And again, it's been losing against Bitcoin for a week. So again, just logically, it wouldn't make sense to me that Ethereum would hold up better than Bitcoin if the cryptocurrency space is going to drop. So I could say over the weekend, if this is a falling wedge on the hourly on ETH BTC, it likely means the cryptocurrency space is going to see another leg up, and Ethereum is just going to see a little bit of a stronger move. So again, these are ways to just shift and determine probabilities. I couldn't look at this chart and say, this falling wedge will break bullish. But I could develop the scenario where if this bullish pattern does break bullish, which I favor more than 50% probability, then I favor a bullish cryptocurrency space being the reason that that happens. ADA, congrats to the bulls. We're looking at $3 psychological resistance. Just beast mode on the blue sky breakout. Good to see. I've got a couple friends in town where this is their fundamental pick that they are long in. Anything above 187 is a daily high or low. We are seeing back burner bounces. Look at the last time 5-minute oversold happened. It's been a while. So we've gone up a solid 20% plus since the last 5-minute oversold. Hourly time frame, EMA 12 is support. We're in an hourly uptrend. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out with plenty of space for a 4-hour high or low. So again, you can establish clear if-then scenarios where if I want an entry here, maybe I don't want to be too aggressive. I'm going to look for the first 15-minute oversold conditions aligning with 4-hour EMA 12. That's when I'm going to be comfortable playing a bounce here. If it doesn't happen, it runs without you, and you have to accept that that's a possibility, but you establish that clear trade game plan, and if it comes to you, then you are ready for that. So that's something to be keeping an eye on, and it's just not my ideal 5-minute back burner. Doesn't mean it won't bounce, but my ideal, well, it could line up here. I want to see the 5-minute oversold align with hourly EMA 12. That just has multiple technical signals happening at the same time as opposed to just RSI. If we've got RSI and an EMA, it's just more confidence in that play. We're watching the spotlight, and the spotlight is the correlation between the ADA USDT and ADA BTC pairing, which is still very strong. You can see when I'm flashing back, you can't tell the difference when I'm doing this, which means they are still in the spotlight and still very correlated. Remember, we were pointing out the SOL correlation shifting. Sol USDT had its massive blue sky run, and then it's falling out of favor as the spotlight is going elsewhere, and it pretty much shifted to ADA a little bit closer. But what was the first clue? So let's go to the 4-hour time frame and just zoom out a little bit, and we're going to look at SOL BTC compared to SOL USDT. And the biggest change was losing EMA 12 support here and continuing to pull back. when the US dollar pairing held it and hit a higher high. So US dollar pairing higher high, BTC pairing lower high. That is when the correlation shifted. And that was August 19th. So that didn't mark the top, but that had us looking, keep an eye out in the other direction. And there were a bunch of Chart Guys members, shout out to Mod Step 2 and others, that have been shorting SOL on this daily consolidation. And so that was a clue. Start keeping an eye in the other direction. So for ADA, look for the same clue. When the spotlight fades and the BTC pairing shows us weakness before the US dollar pairing does, that's when we start keeping an eye out for potential daily consolidation to be shaping up. And for SOL USDT, it's still a possible daily bull flag. There's no red flags. We have to see healthy consolidation along the way, and right now that's what's taking place. This is still a very strong daily chart. And downtrending resistance line to be keeping an eye on. Little downtrending support. A little bit of a falling wedge trying to set up a daily higher low. BNB USDT. Big time move up. Daily bull flag confirmed. Riding daily EMA 12. Great guide over the last month. 1, 2, 3 tests and hold of that level. Big bull volume. And today's the most convincing bullish day in a while. The BNB BTC. Again, another falling wedge. I just love falling wedges on the BTC pairings because it tells us this name has not been of interest in a long time, but keep an eye on it. I'm ignoring this big drop down here because I really like the price action of hitting these levels on this downtrending support line. But it broke bull, we back tested and held it, and now we're getting follow through, and that is a monthly higher low forming on BNB BTC. And that is leading to significant follow through on BNB USDT, and the size of the retracement is now 62%. And that's one way that you can be gauging who's stronger and who's weaker in the altcoin space. Everybody has a version, I should say the vast majority of names have a version of this monthly chart. Some names are at 70% plus, some names are at 40%. Let's look at Litecoin. So I can look at the monthly retracement. How much have we retraced on this monthly higher low? And the answer is not even 35%. And we just looked at 68% from Binance. So again, I can rank names who's bounced more significantly. Right now, LTC USD is one of the weaker coins. We're watching for it to potentially be a laggard, but the LTC BTC chart must confirm a daily trend change. If we do not rise up and break 39.84, the bulls prove absolutely nothing, and Litecoin will remain a weaker altcoin for a prolonged period of time. That is a bare minimum to gain our attention here. Theta. So now let's talk about scouting the next one. Who's going to run next? Because again, we're seeing coins go one at a time or a couple at a time as far as gaining that attention. I'm watching for tightening BTC patterns. We don't have many falling wedges on BTC patterns at this point because the crypto space has been bullish for 5 weeks now, but we do have tightening ranges. Theta USDT. If I look at this chart, I say, okay, yeah, we got a nice bounce going. It looks a bit weaker than Bitcoin overall, but it is still a daily uptrend at this point, coming up towards resistance. I don't care about this US dollar chart at all. What I care about is right here. I love this equilibrium. I know that this equilibrium will likely continue to tighten as it has been tightening at this point for a month. Lower high set, higher low is now set. Maybe we get another lower high. It could tighten up for another week and a half, 2 weeks. But I know that when this chart breaks, if it is a bull break, that will be the spotlight for Theta, and it will then be Theta's turn. So watch these lower highs on the daily time frame and tightening range. Again, this is just a chart to keep an eye on for the next couple weeks. There are other ones like XRP BTC that are going to give us some resolution sooner. Daily equilibrium, nice and tight. So if XRP is going to see a leg up and a laggard type move, this tightening range will have to break bullish. So a bull break of 2674 would be a potential signal to be watching for XRP to make its laggard move. Now I'm curious what Doge looks like. Not tightening up on Doge at this point. So XRP's daily tightening range is going to likely break before the theta tightening range just because of how much range is there to trade within still. But again, scout the names that haven't popped yet for tightening clear patterns that can be actionable. So that's where we stand overall. Again, we're getting into a sense of complacency for bulls, and we don't want to have that lead to mistakes. Because again, as long as Bitcoin is declining bull volume, I'm anticipating a monthly lower high as the most likely scenario. So I'm not giving up on weekly consolidation. It's very impressive from the bulls the last 5 weeks. We've had 5 green Fridays in a row. You better believe the next time we see a red Friday, a little light should flash in your brain that says, okay, that's different. It's a different market environment. Let's see what that shift looks like and how that plays out. So I'm not giving up on weekly consolidation, which is why I'm patiently waiting for 4-hour oversold conditions before I am interested in buying any notable bounces or notable oversold bounce attempts. And again, scouting weekly higher lows if I'm going to be adding to monthly positions. I would have expected more of a pullback here. I think our thumbnail was talking about, is Bitcoin at a top? And in my mind, I was saying, if we pull back 10% plus, then that will be a successful analysis of the situation. And it ended up being a 9% pullback. So, not really the follow through that I would have expected. I thought that was going to lead to weekly consolidation, and it didn't. And that is why having position and exposure is so important in a space like the cryptocurrency space. Because again, I don't ever want to be feeling FOMO. I really don't like not having the position that I want in crypto when the bulls have full control. So I thought weekly consolidation was going to start. I trimmed some positions, half my Bitcoin monthly position and a third of my Ethereum, but I have to anticipate that I will be wrong and have position for that. So fully accepting that I may be about to sit through weekly consolidation with these swing positions, but at this point, no weekly consolidation. So I'm not giving up on weekly consolidation. I'm leading for that to be my next trigger for adding back swing positions, but patience. I'm just a patient guy at this point. So again, the clear signals that things would be shifting for me, a red Friday would do it, but we got a few days till then. So hourly oversold conditions in Bitcoin resulting in a lower high and lower low. That would be notable to me, and the dominance chart breaking bull would be notable to me. At this point, the dominance chart is just trying to break support. If we see a clear leg down here, good sign for the cryptocurrency bulls overall. So those are 3 things that I'm watching for in the short term to show me a shift in momentum. But if we see hourly oversold and we V-shape right back to the high, then we know, yep, those aggressive bulls are still absolutely buying these dips hand over fist. So congrats to the bulls. It's been a great 5 weeks. And again, we don't want to just get lulled into a sense of complacency as bulls, just thinking that bulls are always going to be buying dips from here. If you forced me to bet, I would say that a monthly lower high is the most likely scenario, but I will have position for in case I'm wrong. Because as a trader, when you are making calls hundreds of times a year as far as determining most likely scenarios, you're wrong a good bit. Feel free to ask any questions. Don't forget to do good things. Hope you had a good weekend out there. And we'll be watching hourly RSI. Honestly, that almost matters more to me than price levels and higher lows. All right. See you soon. So over that hill is a big pond, and the pond overflows and links up with this part of the creek on the other side, and then it just rushes over the road. And it ate apart this driveway here, big divots, pushed all the gravel into here, and then there's a pipe underneath the driveway that connects the water that comes into here to the big creek, and that all filled with gravel and was completely blocked. So then all that water goes through these woods, which is straight towards the house. And the driveway is slanted down this way, so as the water comes over, it's all forced into the woods. So game plan, I think I'm starting from scratch. This is 20 years old at this point. You can see the wood on the side here is rotting out. So I think I'm gonna have them come here and smash this all up, put a bigger diameter pipe, because the one that's there is still filled with rocks. We've been digging at it for a long time and it's still full. So new pipe, and then build up this side to shift the tilt of the driveway so it's tilting this way, so the water runs off into the main creek and ideally avoids the house. So that's the game plan. Got to call the contractor and deal with all that. And then of course we got cables that are going under here, but I'll see what they say.